Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome back. So today was a little bit better day than we saw yesterday with Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners. Like I said yesterday, I think today was going to be a green day. Sure enough, turned out to be a green day after all. Not all the miners were up in the green, but at least the majority of them were. So that was at least a good sign there. We do have some good news stories. Obviously, whales are still buying Bitcoin like crazy here. We'll talk about that. We have some other news stories on Bitcoin and the current market that we're in, I guess. We also will take a look at the miners here for the operations for November. All right, we'll grade them on that. We'll look at the ones that actually report on that. So we're down to 5 miners now instead of the, I think, 9 miners that we had at one point here going back just a couple months. So we'll look at all those guys here, there. We'll get into Q&A, and we have some good news stories as well. We'll get through it all, and we'll get into the end of it. So not always. Not financial advice as always. For entertainment only, do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. It helps me out tremendously here. And let's take a look at what happened with Bitcoin today, and we'll get into everything else at that point. So Bitcoin today, nice little bounce here today. We were up a little bit, 1.66%. We closed at 87,854, which was kind of nice there. We're down on the new day a little bit as well. We're down 0.67% right now as it is. We're down $585, but we did bounce here at least. And we have been bouncing here. If we look at the weekly chart here, we've been bouncing off of the 100 SMA here. We can see here we did it once here. This was back in November of 17th. We did it again here the week of December 1st, and we did it here again this week, obviously with Monday. So we are bouncing off of that, and maybe that 80,000 mark here is the bottom in Bitcoin here. We'll see if that actually holds true or not. We'll know in a couple of weeks, I guess, on that one. I put a poll out into the comments right now, right? Has Bitcoin bottomed out at 80,000 right now? Right now, we have 61% of you believing that it has bottomed out at that point. So maybe we have bottomed out. We'll find out in due course on that one. Markets today were mixed overall. Dow Jones was down a little bit here. NASDAQ was up a little bit. S&P was down a little bit. Russell was down a little bit as well. Ethereum here today was up a little bit. Let's take a look at it on the daily here. Actually, sorry, it was down. I thought it was up. It was up at one point here, but it finished out in the red here. So it was down just a little bit, 0.08% there. Miners, like I said, for the most part, they were in the green, somewhere in the red here. Bitfarms was down another 3.95% there. BitDeer was up 1.62%. Kango was up 10.83%, kind of regaining some of the losses that it got yesterday, majority of those at least. Cypher was up 1.7%. Cleanspark was down just a little bit, 0.46%. That one's bouncing off of, it looks like the 200 SMA there. CORZ was down 3.6%. Hive was flat in the day. HUD 8 was up 3.98. IREN was up 3.13%. Mara was down just a little bit, 0.09%. Riot was down 1.75%. Wolf was up 4% there as well. The Bitcoin mining, and not Bitcoin, Bitcoin holders, the treasury companies there, MicroStrategy was up 3.34%. Galaxy was down 1.21%. Block was up 0.83%. Coin was up 0.87%. Metaplan was up 1.76%. Exodus was up 6.42%. Nexon was down 1.53%. Similar was up nicely, gaining some of the losses from yesterday. It was up 8.55% there. Phoenix was up 1.73%. GameStop was up 0.86%. Small miners were mixed here a little bit. Any was up just a little bit, 1.9%. Argo was up 1.24%. DigiPower was down 0.39%. DMG was up 1.11%. Mawson was down 3.69%. Canon was up a little bit, 0.65%. The Bitcoin ETF miners were up 1% overall on average there for those guys. The Ethereum holding companies were up also a little bit as well. BMNR was up 1.42%. BitDigital was up 1.45%. BTCS was up 2.36%. Game was up 4.49%. And SBET was up 2.1%. Other companies that we track here, making Bitcoin was flat on the day today. Wi-Fi was down 0.85%. Open was up 4.02%. Oracle was up 2.02%. Nibius was down just a little bit, 0.23%. Soluna was flat. Fermi was up 13.39%. That one obviously has been beaten down here recently in the last couple of days. Who else do I have here? Meta was up 1.49%. Google was down, 0.51%. Amazon was up just a little bit, 0.01%. Microsoft was up 0.33%. And NVIDIA was up 0.81% overall. So the majority of the stocks were in the green here today, nonetheless. Miners here in the after hours right now. BitDeer is up a little bit, 0.2%. Bitfarms is down 0.41%. Sorry, it's actually up now, 0.41%. Kango is down 2.26%. Cypher is, let's see where that one comes in, is down 0.2%. Cleanspark here is actually, is it up still? Yeah, it's still up 0.17%. CORZ Scientific is down 0.2%. Hive is up 2.51% there. HUD 8 is also up 0.14%. IREN here is up. Let's see where that one finishes out at. Come on. A lot of trading happening in that one all the time, even after hours, pre-hours. It is, come on, up 0.66%. Mara is up, let's see here. Actually, it's flat right now. And Riot is up 0.07%. And TeraWolf, last but not least, is up 0.77% here. Bitcoin for the month of December is still down 2.96%. We have about, 2 weeks left to go or so. We'll see where we end up at here on this one. Bitcoin ETF inflows, outflows. We had outflows yesterday, outflows today as well. We'll see where BlackRock comes in. I don't know if BlackRock's going to be able to rescue and get us into a positive inflow there. But right now, we are still negative on it as it is. What else do we have here? Next is some of the stories that we do have here. So fun fact, Bitcoin has dipped more than 30% 3 times the cycle, right? I talked about this in pretty much all my videos when we talk about this stuff. But this is just a nice chart showing it here. And if we pull this chart up, we can see here, right? We talked about it back in the first half of 2024, right before the halving event there. Bitcoin dipped 34%. We got to 70-some thousand here. In Bitcoin, we dipped down to about 40-some thousand, 48, something like that. We dipped 34%. Then later on, earlier this year, we dipped also 32% from where we started out the year to April. We dipped 32%, and here we just dipped 36% as well. So we've had 3 of those instances already as it is. We historically, in the past, we had much, much more of these, about double of these kind of drawdowns, but they were much quicker. They were within a couple of days, a week or 2 tops. We would go down 32%, and we would bounce up, 50%, 80%, whatever it was in the past. And we're not seeing that right now. We're seeing it much more extended as far as the drawdowns, plus also the parts where we go up in price, and Bitcoin takes much longer as well. It is all looking like I've talked about so many times. It's looking more of an extended cycle than ever. Okay, this is from Plan B here. Why is Bitcoin not pumping? Because 50% is selling. OGs traumatized by 2021. Technical investors looking at RSIs. 4-year cycle fans expecting a bear 2-year post-halving, while the other 50% is buying. Fundamental investors, trade 5 banks, epic battle until sellers are out of ammo. Yeah, and this kind of goes into what we're going to talk about here in a second here. But it's people believing in these 4-year cycles, and they get freaked out by it. And they just have this mindset that the 4-year cycle is going to be there. It's going to always go drop Bitcoin down 80%. And they plan on that. They kind of, sell at that point. Whether or not the fundamentals are in their favor or not, they're going to do what they have seen here historically, which is, unfortunately, might be to their detriment if we believe that we're going to get an extended cycle, which I do. So we'll see how this plays out. But right now, even, Plan B is kind of like questioning what the heck is going on here. This doesn't make any sense. We didn't have a huge bull run in Bitcoin this past year, which we would have expected if this was a regular cycle like we've had in the past as well. All right, next here, this is whales. Whales are buying up a crap ton of Bitcoin here. 5 billion looks like worth of Bitcoin in the past week. The fastest buy pace since 2012. Something is coming big here. So this is entities of 100 to like 1,000 Bitcoin, right? Entities with balances 100 to 1,000 Bitcoin. You can see here that is increasing as well. And then shark supply net position change here. You can see a big spike here as well on that one. So whales are buying here, whether that's institutions, whether that's countries, whether that's companies, they are buying up like crazy here, right? So we haven't seen that since 2012. 2012 going all the way back here, looks like. So that is definitely a huge improvement there. So we got noobs probably selling. We got paper hands selling right now as it is in Bitcoin, and others are stacking the sats right now as it is. So that's a good sign. That could lead us, like I think, to an extended cycle, but time will tell. All right, next here, this is from Matthew Siegel here, recovering CFA. Getting questions from clients about recent Bitcoin death cross, so worth showing the data. Since 2011, many occurred near major bottoms, 2011, 2015, 2020, 2023. 6-month median subsequent return has been plus 30%. 12-month median return was plus 89%. Positive hit rate of 64%, lagging indicator here, and you can see it in the chart here of how that has structured out in the past year. So maybe we have bottomed out here at 20,000, at 80,000 on Bitcoin, and we are just, right now clearing out the deck to run up higher. Again, like I said, time will tell on that one, but obviously some indicators are showing that as well. And then next here, we have a breaking from the tech investor. The bill to help advance AI data center build-out clears procedural hurdle in-house. So that's good news there. The bill is to help advance AI data center build-outs clears procedural hurdle in-house. CNBC's Emily Wilkins reports on the SPEED Act, which is a bill meant to reform process for obtaining federal permits for projects to build out artificial intelligence infrastructure in the United States. That is great news, obviously, for a lot of these companies here. A lot of these companies that we talk about, IREN, Cypher, Riot, Bitfarms, Cleanspark, Wolf, all of these guys here, they already have sites in place. It's just a matter of getting the stuff built out here, which I don't think this will help them a little bit, but it shouldn't be, I think it's more for new sites and places that are not currently, not currently stacked with megawatts at least. But this will help nonetheless here. We are, like we've talked about in the past, in a somewhat, I guess you could say, a cold war with China when it comes to AI right now, on AI. And obviously the U.S. wants to win this race and become the dominant player in the AI space going forward, where we have other countries using our AI to build on their technologies and things like that. So definitely a good sign here going forward as well. And then lastly here, but not least, we have this. Today we obviously had the unemployment rate come in. It was at 4.6. Expectations were 4.4. So it came in higher than expected, which means the labor market is getting weaker. The Fed will have to do more easing in 2026, meaning possibly more rate cuts happening, I think, in January and beyond that as well. Right now, the Fed tool is still only showing 25% chance of a rate cut here happening in, I believe it's January, which is next meeting date is January 28th there. We'll see if that changes. We'll keep an eye on this. Obviously, the Fed tool here, we'll see what that prognosis is going to be potentially. But I think as the data comes in, we are definitely going to need to possibly cut some more rates here. And we know that the new Fed chair that's going to be appointed in May, I believe, is going to be backed by Trump, and Trump definitely wants to lower those rates even lower. So to spur the economy, spur everything around it. So that's going to be a good sign here. Fed's also gotten into quantitative easing. That's going to be, money printer going burr. That's a good thing for us. That's going to lead, obviously, Bitcoin, other stocks as well, to go up in time. Yep. All right, so there's that news that we have on these things. Next, we're going to just take a quick look at the miners here. We only have 5 right now. BitDeer, Hive, Riot, Kango, and Cleanspark are the only ones that are still reporting monthly operational updates. We look at this every month with all the miners when they were reporting, so we're down, half of what we had roughly. But we look at month-over-month hash rate growth, Bitcoin percentage sold, BTC per exahash efficiency, Bitcoin mined, days mined, current hash rate, and HODL. So we have the 6 metrics and the 8 metrics, and we take out the current hash rate and the HODL and use the 6 metrics as well, just to see how they have been actually in operations progressing, not including what their current hash rate is in HODL. All right, so month-over-month percentage hash rate growth, higher is better. Obviously, BitDeer, huge growth here this year. They're up 10.9% in hash rate over the prior month. Hive came in second with 5.89, and then we got Riot, Kango, and Cleanspark being basically flat. Current hash rate, Cleanspark at 50 exahash there, along with Kango 50 exahash. BitDeer, closing in on that gap there at 45 exahash. Riot at 36, and Hive at 25 exahash. BTC per exahash efficiency higher is better. Cleanspark came in number 1 with 11.74. Riot 11.69, number 2 spot. Hive 11.6, number 3 spot. BitDeer 11.51, and Kango 10.93 there. Month-over-month BTC mine percentage, BitDeer improved their number of Bitcoin mined by 2.94%. Hive a little bit there, 0.35. Riot was down 2%, Cleanspark was down 4%, and Kango was down almost 10% there for the month. Those guys obviously have not had any growth in hash rate. That's a result of it. As others are growing, they're going to improve that, and the other ones are going to take a little bit of a hit on that. Going forward, BTC mined here, Cleanspark came in number 1 with 587, Kango number 2 spot with 546, BitDeer 526, not far behind there, Riot 428, Hive 290, days mined, BitDeer came in number 1 with 27.39 days, Hive and Cleanspark tied for the second spot with 27.2 days, Riot 27.09, not too far beyond that. And Kango is down 25.33 days. So they definitely curtailed there a lot more so than these other guys here. HODL, as far as HODL is concerned here, Riot's got the most, 19,368 out of these guys. Cleanspark, 13,054. Kango, 6,959. BitTier, 2,233. And Hive, 580. We believe that's the case. I'm not sure if that's the exact number that they have right now. They haven't been reporting that in a number of months here recently. And then Bitcoin percentage sold here. Kango has not sold anything. Riot sold about 89% of what they mined. Cleanspark, 94%. Hive sold 100%, and BitTier sold actually 110% of what they mined here in November. Okay, based on those scores here, here's how they all stack up. Scores based on the 8 metrics, we got Cleanspark coming in number 1 with 17 points. Lower is better. BitTier and Riot came in number 2 spot, tied. Riot and Kango came in number 3 spot. Hive number 4 spot. Scores based on 6 metrics without HODL or current hash rate. Cleanspark still came in number 1 with 14. BitTier came in number 2 spot with 15. Then we got Riot number 3 spot with 17, Hive number 4 spot with 18, and Kango last here with 20 points overall. And here's how the miners stacked up against each other, more or less. You can see how their individual scores rack up. So pretty good overall. For Cleanspark here, Riot kind of all over the place here a little bit. And some things really good on some things and not so good on some other things. Kango, not too bad either. Hive, kind of high on some of these things, right? Things have definitely come... Getting a little bit worse for them here recently in the last month compared to where they were just a month prior. And then we got this one is... Who's this one? I'm not sure. Let's see here. We had Cleanspark, Riot, Kango, Hive. So this is BitTier, I'm guessing. BitTier is not showing up on here, but that should be BitTier there. Okay, total metrics for the 12-month averages. Lower is better. So we take the scores over the last 12 months. Give them average score on those. And we can see here that Cleanspark's number 1 here with 26 points overall on average. Kango came in second with 28. Riot with 32. BitTier with 37. Hive with 39. If we look at the average as well here, this is on the 8 metrics, or sorry, on the 6 metrics that don't include HODL or hash rate. We had Cleanspark still number 1. Kango number 2 with 23. Hive with 26 along with BitTier. And Riot came in at 27 there at that point. And here's all the raw data that we have right now. And it is unfortunate that some of the other miners are not reporting anymore. They're still obviously mining Bitcoin. It would have been nice to see where they stack up against their peers in the industry. But it is what it is. Eventually, I think we'll probably be down to maybe a couple of these guys, even out of these guys here, that are still reporting. But who knows? Maybe they'll report for much longer here. Time will only tell. I think as we get more into AI data centers and generating revenue from that, I think we'll have less and less of this kind of data popping in here, unfortunately, which I think they still could do very well with reporting data on their AI operations. I love data. The more data that we have, I think is better as far as investors. We can see what's going on in a more timely manner than having to wait the 3 months that we get data on the quarterly results. But that's just me, and maybe wishful thinking there as well. But that's it. That's all I got for you guys. Spreadsheet, as always, will be available to Patreon members. Link for that is in the description if you want to join, help support what I do. A couple bucks a month, and that's it. So let's get into a Q&A here, and we'll call it a day here. We're doing pretty good here. We're only 20 minutes in right now as it is. So it should be pretty short and sweet here tonight. All right, let's get into Q&A. As always, preface the questions with a question mark or a Q. I would appreciate it. I'm going to scroll my way up as always and work my way down. Let's see what we got here. All right, T-Bone says, hey Seb, I thought whales were selling. What happened? Well, I guess the whales, you could think of when we think of whales, we think of whales as like the old dogs, right? The old guard. I think there's a new guard of whales coming into the space, which is institutions, countries potentially as well. Those are the ones that are now buying up what the old whales are selling, basically, becoming the new whales. Okay, let's see. Timo says volume a little bit low. Volume, it's all looking good on my side here, at least on the volume metrics side of things. All right. Neil says, so you base your investment strategies on hopium and whales? No, on data. I just provide you guys with some of the stuff that's being reported out there. It's not on hopium. Whenever you invest in a stock, right, you look at the data that's out there that's available for it, and there's a little bit of hopium that goes into it, right? You hope that the company continues to do well, continues to execute well. you have no input on it other than you're seeing stuff that has already happened, right? So there's always a little hopium whenever you're investing in anything. All right, T-Bone. Hey, Seb, will Bitfarms start going back up when it is included in the Canadian SPX index? And it might. I think that's going to be a nice little bounce for it there at that point. All right. Roger asks, Christmas rally still on the books, boys? I don't know. Hard to tell right now. All right. What else we got here? Neville, we heading for the 60, 70,000 range. Cypher and Bitfarms will be accumulated if we dip further in that order. Again, like I said, I don't know if we're going to go down in that range. Right now, we're still holding above 80,000, which is a good sign. If we break below 80, then yeah, we could go down even further. But then that would be, I would see that as a repeat of prior cycles where we go down even further beyond that even. So if we fall below 80,000, I think we might be heading down to like 40-some thousand at that point. Unless we get just a wick down to like 70-some thousand, we bounce off of that. We could possibly see that. But right now, we're still holding around 30%. Well, it's more than that. It's like 36% drawdown from the top, which is in line with what we have seen here twice already before. All right. T1 asks, how is everyone buying spot Bitcoin nowadays? Through exchanges, I'm guessing. Right? A lot of these guys are still doing a lot of stuff on over-the-counter desks, which is another way that they can buy without moving the price. All right. Now it says Cypher touching the $8 to $10 range would be irresistible for me. Likewise, I would be definitely buying at that point as well. Cypher, IREN, and others that would come down that low. All right, Adam, what would a share of IREN be worth if Bitcoin drops to 60,000 by end of 2026, and they have met their stated goal of 100,000 GPUs up and running? Also, how much of that will be their own cloud as a service? Good question there. I think that's what they're targeting for their own cloud, not including with Microsoft business that's in there as well, right? They're going to be building out for that. Given 100,000, I think we're looking at like, what is it, 3.5 billion in revenue, right? If they get to 100,000 GPUs, I think that's the math on it. I think. So that they still should be up higher from where it is, depending, even if Bitcoin goes down at that point, because they're going to be generating more revenue from AI compute than they would be from Bitcoin mining right now. So I would think they would be up higher. Let's see, Neville says, Timely sees more pain ahead. That guy is a perma bull. Yeah, I saw a couple of interviews where he stated that the S&P could go down 20% next year, and then we're going to go back up to like 7,700 area. That would be like a 40% rip from the 20% correction. So he's kind of covering his bases in that regard, where he's saying we could go down, but we're also going to go up to a new high in S&P, right? So could there be some short-term pain? Possibly. We don't know. Nobody knows what the future is going to hold like. But it does seem like, to me at least, he's covering his bases that if we do dip, he's going to be right. And if we don't dip and we go up higher, he's going to be right on that part, right? So that might be a way to play it. All right. DasMarketStat says, good evening, Seb and Miner family. I'm on TikTok now because X won't allow me to create Really? Why'd you get banned from X? Well, I wish there was a way I could help on X for you to get back on it. Yeah, sorry about that. All right. Dad's Market Stats says I'm getting back into Cleanspark. Nice there. Victor, question: Would it be wise, I guess, to sell Cypher at 15.50 and buy back at 14 once BOG announces rate hikes? Appreciate your thoughts. I mean, that's going to be up to you, right? Have we come down because of it already? That I don't know, right? So could we go down to 14? Maybe. I would just hold. Personally, this is what I would just do right now. Financial advice. I would just hold on to it, and if we dip lower, I would buy more at that point. Right? That's just me, though. Rob says, Tom Lee has sensed that he can jinx Bitcoin if he speaks good about it, so he is now saying the opposite. Maybe that's true there. Sir Lellington, let's all thank Seb for continuing giving us factual support of new rally soonish. Okay, appreciate that. Morton, have you heard that Bernie Sanders is trying to get a moratorium on data centers? Fortunately, he has an extraordinary low success rate in Congress. I saw something about that. I've also seen some actors trying to create a pact of some sort against AI creation of, I guess, videos or things like that. So there's definitely some opposition happening in this space. We saw communities being opposed to data centers being built out in their communities as well. So there is some opposition here. Maybe, I don't know if it's rightfully so or not. I'm more bullish on this side of things. I think AI is going to be very good for society going forward. Will it cause some pain? Yeah, it's going to definitely cause some pain for some people, for sure. But overall, I think the net positive is going to be really good. But that's just my thoughts there. All right, Dan asks, do you really still think Bitcoin can get to 150,000 by April and May? Scale of 1 to 10 also, what would tomorrow's price be with a new Bitcoin all-time high? I know you're not a crystal ball teller, but LOL. Okay, 150,000 by April. It's possible, right? On a scale, I would give it maybe a 6 or 7 out of 10. It will all depend if we continue to get rate cuts. That will help out quantitative easing continuing to go on. And, this drawdown that we're in right now on Bitcoin has been lasting almost, 2 months or maybe even 3 months now on it that we've been coming back down on it. So maybe that's getting close to being over. Maybe by the end of the year, we'll be done with it, and then we rally up higher here. So that's why I think we might still go up higher in 2026. Now, will it be before May? I don't know. Or April, May? Not sure. As far as, Mara's price. Bitcoin going up should help. They also have a higher cost to mine than others as well. I don't know how much of a benefit that will be, but I think that will help them out going forward. And as far as their price could be, they're at, what are they at right now? I don't really track Mara that much. Let me see here. Mara right now is at 1069. I think if Bitcoin goes to 150,000, we could possibly see them being close to $20, maybe even above that. If we, from where we are right now, around 80-some thousand, that's basically close to 100% gain on Bitcoin at that point. I would think that Mara would at least do a 2x from where it's at right now, at least. That's kind of where I would think. All right. T-Bone, what will be the theme for 2026? HPC, AI, Bitcoin mining, or DATS? What is DATS? DATS. Not sure what that acronym stands for, DATS. First time I'm seeing this one, actually. Data centers, are you talking about data centers? I think it's going to be a combination of AI and data centers. I think that's going to be continuing on here. AI is not going away anytime soon. The compute for that, everybody wants more compute. So they're all looking to spend billions of dollars next year as well to secure compute and build that out even more. So that's kind of where I would see things. T1 question. Bitfarms came out today reiterating their 1 gigawatt capacity in Pennsylvania. They mentioned Amazon in the post. Maybe a hint. Amazon bought out the site from Talon, I think it was. That was next door to TeraWolf, I believe. Or in the same campus there or something like that. It was like 700 megawatts or something like that. This was back in, 2024, I want to say. So that's kind of what they're talking about there on that one. And Rob asked, where did you see that? It was on X. I saw that post as well. Okay. Jay asks, would you know any updates on Genesis project noted from Trump? Because that kind of got brushed off. I haven't seen anything updated on that one in a while. So, no, unfortunately, no. All right. P-Invest, is IREN your top buy? It has been my best performer. I'll let you know that. This is my top buy right now. If things go down even more, I will be buying it again, along with Cleanspark, Bitfarms, probably Cypher at that point. I will be putting more capital into those guys if we go down even further. So yes. All right, P-Invest, would you sell Cleanspark for IREN at this point to go all in at these levels? Had a similar question from, I don't know if it was from you yesterday or somebody else. Somebody else asked me that yesterday as well. I have done that in the past, right? So I've sold Cleanspark stock last year to buy into IREN at that point. And I've also sold Cleanspark and IREN to buy into Cypher. So I do that opportunistically at different time frames. Would I sell right now? I still believe that Cleanspark can do a 2 to 3x, which I also believe that IREN can still do a 2 to 3x from where it's at right now. So based on that, it's kind of even weighted right now. So I don't see the need to change over. If I thought that IREN could do like a 5 to 10x or something like that, and Cleanspark could only do a 2 to 3x, I would be maybe more inclined to do that. But right now, I just see them still possibly, doing those at least. And they could do even better at that point. All right. Rob says, I'm going to DCA more on Bitfarms just because of the Bitfarms X post. Okay. Jelly, what happened to Argo? They dropped 80% on Friday. Argo did a reverse split, I believe they did. Let me see, Argo. Yeah, they did a reverse split here. And that was a result of that, I believe. If we look at it here on the chart, we have the stock split here. It was 1 for 216. So you got basically 1 share for 216 shares that you own there. And I think that's why I definitely dumped on that news there. But that's why it was down the 77%. It looks like that's on the daily. Yeah, that was a big drop on it there. All right, let's go back here. All right, Victor, question. I only have Cypher at the 20. I am down at the moment. Do you think it would be good to sell half and buy IREN? If yes, what price do you reckon? Oh, okay. I mean, Cypher, I think, still should do very well going forward here. They got a lot of megawatts in their pipeline as well, and a lot of megawatts under development right now. I would not. So IREN has more shares, or not IREN, sorry. Cypher has more shares outstanding than IREN does. I don't know if I would sell Cypher to get into IREN. If you don't have any capital, then okay, I would possibly do that. If you have capital on the side that you could possibly just buy into IREN, I would do that instead. But if you don't have anything on the sidelines, any extra cash or something like that, then I would probably do that to get into IREN as well. So I would, not financial advice though, but that's kind of the way I would look at it. All right, T-Bone, T-Bone, question, out of all the stocks, what you track on this show, which one will be the winner for 2026? Honestly, I think it might be IREN, just because of IREN's performance here in the last year or so, plus their growth, their megawatts that they have available when it's going to be coming online as well. And they've been also very, very, but I'm trying to blank on the word that I'm looking for, but very aggressive in their own build out for their own AI cloud as well. I love seeing that. So I think based on the thing, I think maybe if any of these do very well, I think it might be IREN. Okay. T1 says digital asset. Okay, digital asset strategies, not to data centers. I don't know if the digital asset strategies will do that well. I mean, they haven't done nowhere near what Bitcoin has done, at least in the past year. They're done much more than Bitcoin is. Even when Bitcoin was at 120 some odd thousand, these guys were still lagging behind. So I don't know if those will do that great here going forward. There's just too many avenues for people to get into Bitcoin. You got ETFs, you got obviously exchanges now that you can go into. Eventually you'll have banks that are going to be offering it as well. So I don't know if those will get that much of a premium going forward. Okay. Let's see, Gary asked, why are the Democrats voting against the HPC AI bills? How do they benefit by helping China win the AI race? They think it's, the AI is going to take over a lot of the jobs that are done by regular people. And that's kind of what they're going on. But I think it's a little hindsight, or not hindsight, it's just a little short-sighted, I think. Yes, we're definitely going to have some impact on jobs here going forward. But I think there's more good to it than there is bad. I definitely will feel for the people that are going to be impacted by it. People just need to adapt. Unfortunately, whenever a new technology comes into play, people need to adapt. And hopefully they will. All right. Let's see, Gary, does Bitfarms have energy contracts already signed at a date for energization of 1.1 gigawatt site? No, they are in the talks with PJM Market. I think it's PJM Market there in Pennsylvania for additional megawatts that would get them to the 1.1 gigawatt sites, but I don't think they have anything signed concrete right now. All right. P says, IREN may do 3x before Cleanspark with deals. If so, then why swap and go back to Cleanspark? If so, then why not swap and go back to... I mean, you could definitely do that as well, right? But timing that is never my forte. I'm terrible at that. That's why I just kind of get into the companies that I want to get into dollar cost average down into them if I can, and hold on to them for a little bit longer and see where they end up in a year or two. All right. Morton says, if IREN signs 1 or 2 more deals in 2026 and Bitcoin gets above 100,000 and stays at least that high, do you think IREN hits 100? Yeah, depending on the amount of deals then at that point. I think IREN right now, with the amount of revenue they're generating, everything else should be valued at over $100 as it is. So yeah, if they get more deals, then yeah, I think they should be definitely over $100. PInvest, IREN another deal by year end. I would love to see it. I don't know. I mean, maybe with XAI, there's some rumors around that. That Mike Alfred is talking to Elon Musk there. I would love to see it. That'd be a nice Christmas present for all of us, but I don't know. All right, Rob, I wonder if Bitfarms can go to $23 a share if they sign a deal with hyperscale like Amazon. $23 a share would put them at roughly, what would that be? They have 500 million shares outstanding at 10 billion valuation. There would have to be one heck of a deal there in order for them to get to $23 at that point. All right, P-Invest, do you think the miners have bottomed? These price drawdown has been nuts. I'm hoping that they bottomed out along with Bitcoin here, probably at 80,000. I'm hoping that's the case. Things are looking like it. And yeah, I mean, we've been through this before. This is not the first rodeo that we've seen the miners go down quite a bit here, 30, 40, 50, 60% down. We saw that earlier this year as well, before the tariffs, right? So it is not out of the ordinary, I guess is what I'm trying to say. All right. Who is PJM Market, or PJM, what is that? It's the Pennsylvania area. That's the controlling body there for the electrical grid there. All right. Tsar says, we give up so much of the gains from this year's run. So it's frustrating, more selling into close of the year. Yeah, I agree with you. It is frustrating as all can be. Hopefully you're still in the green though, if you bought in much lower prices, which I think you did. So you should be still pretty good there overall. Hopefully you're still in the green. I'm still in the green on IREN, Cleanspark, Cypher, Bitfarms still. So I'm looking to see if they dip a little bit more. If they do, I'll probably end up buying a little bit more. I think next year they'll do even better. P-Invest says, have you sold any miners? No, I have not. No. Let's see. Abi asks, Seb, I believe you are holding some of your stocks in your portfolio for more than a year now. What's your exit strategy? You got to believe we come down at some point, right? Even if it's an extended cycle. Well, with the miners here, they're switching over to AI. So it's a little bit different story than we've had in the past with Bitcoin miners, where in 2021 cycle was all about Bitcoin, right? Growing as much as they can, getting the hash rate, market share there. This time around, it's AI. It's what's really catapulting these guys up to much higher valuations because of that. So a lot of them also have a lot of megawatts. IREN, Cypher, Riot even, right? Who else? Terrible. Cleanspark is definitely in that space now, along with Bitfarms, BitDeer as well. All of these guys are getting revalued on AI more so than on Bitcoin mining. So if they continue to get deals and there's still a strong demand for AI infrastructure, data centers and things like that, I think that will continue to go up here into the next couple of years, I think, until we get a full saturation of AI and then where we don't have any more megawatts available here on Earth and we go up into outer space with data centers at that point. But in the meantime, I think those data centers are going to be definitely valuable and they're going to generate a lot of profits for shareholders, I think. But so the exit strategy is going to be to reach, for me at least, I'd like to see IREN for me at least reach 7 figures for me. That would be a great exit time to possibly take like half of it off the table at that point. And if we go beyond that, to leave the rest to go, see where it goes. Same thing with some of the other guys here, do at least a 2 to 3x from where we are right now. Take off a little bit off the table and let the rest run, see where we go. Okay. Let's see. DasMarketStat says, my realized profit is 7,000 tax loss harvesting at this point. Okay. Let's see. Alex says, hold the line, fellas. We will rocket back up soon. I have that same sentiment. I feel the same thing. Right? It's definitely not a great feeling right now, though. Sarah says, oh, yeah, I'm still up 6 to 7% overall, but still I gave up a large chunk of my portfolio. Okay. Yeah. I've definitely had a huge drawdown here from the top. I'm down probably now, I think, 1.3 mil, roughly. So it's not a great feeling overall for my all portfolios, right? Stocks, crypto, and retirement account. So definitely took a beating here recently. All right, PMS, did you buy more IREN recently? And well, that was not recently. I bought, what did I buy? Cleanspark and Bitfarms and Cypher. I believe I bought those. What was it been like 3-4 weeks ago when it looks like they kind of bottomed out at that point? It was like, yeah, like 3 weeks ago, I think it was when I bought them. Let's see, Surmount says 387 IREN and 456 Cleanspark bases. Okay, so yeah, you got even better pricing than I do on both of those guys there. So you're doing so good. All right. Let's see, Rob says not sold any shares. Diamond Hands here. Bitfarms is the big ticket and Hive. Okay. If you had 300,000 dry powder, how and when would you deploy it? Looking forward to the day you buy more IREN. How would I deploy that? Oh, geez, I would still probably deploy it across the board, probably across the miners that I have now as it is. IREN, Cleanspark, Cypher as well. Bitfarms, I would just dollar cost average into them like I did. So if we're down, I mean, we're down quite a bit right now as it is. So I would put in a little bit, see where we go. If we dip a little bit more, buy some more at that point, and just continue to buy. If we start going back up, buy a little bit more. I did the same thing. When we were going back up, I bought some more of those stocks as well. As far as allocation, how you would do that, I think IREN has a really good chance of doing very well. Cypher, I think, is going to do also pretty good. They have more shares, though. Bitfarms has a lot more shares. I think Bitfarms still can go up, though, 2-3x. Same thing. A lot of these guys here. So you just never know who's going to get the deals, and that's always the tough part. But that's kind of why I diversified so much. Before I was just when I started out, I was basically Bitfarms and Cleanspark at that point. And then we were keeping an eye on, obviously, on IREN for a long time to see how they do. And when we saw that they were doing great, right, cashed in some of that shares in Cleanspark and moved over to IREN as well. And that was one of the best things that I've done. So it's going to be definitely up to you as far as how you do it and how you time it. Right? Nobody's perfect at it. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Desmond says, I'm going to start day trading the QQQ, okay? Vic, don't say down 1.3 million with the wifey close by. The wifey knows, right? I mean, we're still up tremendously from where we were just 3 years ago. So we're thankful for that. And I think it's going to do even better going forward here. But that's the hard part, right? Being patient and having that conviction that things will be better here. And the reason I have conviction still is we're seeing all the adoption happening with Bitcoin. We're seeing, Trump administration doing all the right things when it comes to AI and Bitcoin miners and Bitcoin and crypto in general. So I think things are still looking pretty good here overall. There's a lot of good things happening for us. There's some, obviously, weakness signs in the labor market and things like that, but that could have been based on a little bit of AI, I think, is partially to do for that. Also, I think the tariffs also had part to do with it as also. We've seen some companies go bankrupt. Some small mom pop shops go also out of business because of tariffs. They couldn't compete. So I think that's kind of what that's based on right now, at least. Okay. PInvest, why aren't you buying more IREN? Never could have more IREN, man. This is a 100 billion company. All other miners are trying to be like IREN, but IREN's years in advance. Why not go all in on IREN now? Okay. So the way I look at it is, if I spend $1,000 on IREN right now in shares, how much am I getting? I'm getting, what is that going to be? 50 shares, right? If my math is correct here. Would that be 50 shares roughly at these current levels? Maybe, no, it's less than that, isn't it? Let me see here. So let's see, calculator. Okay. If we do $1,000 divided by 40, 25 shares. Okay, so half of that, 25 shares. So I could buy 25 shares of that, or I could buy into Bitfarms, much more shares, and if they go up, from where they are 5x, that could be even better. Cleanspark does a little bit better, possibly, right? So it's kind of like, what am I getting in return for that, I guess? But you're right. I mean, IREN is the darling right now. IREN is the queen in the space. And I love what they have been doing and been a huge supporter of them. But I'm happy with the amount of shares I have right now on it. And that's kind of the way I just kind of look at it. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong. Maybe. All right. P Invest says, what's IREN's book value? Are there near based on market cap for IREN? Let me see if I have that on IREN book value. Let me see here. IREN book value. Let's see if I have that. Price to book. I have a price book value of equity is 2.8 billion for them. So yeah, I mean their market cap is much higher than that as it is right now. So we're not close to that as right now. Enterprise value is 10.4 billion. Sorry, I should probably show this to you guys. I'm sorry, I gotta take a sip of water because my throat's getting dry. Excuse me. Book value of equity, right, is 2.8 as of Q1 2026, which is our Q3 for them. But you can see all the data here on it as it is right now. Yes, they do have some debt, obviously, for the convertible notes and things like that, but they're going to be generating a heck of a lot of revenue. All right, let's go back here. All right, Midwest Thailand. If rumors are true that Bitfarms had offers but turned them down because they wanted more, excuse me, do you think it was a good idea to turn those deals down and wait? Well, yeah, I mean, depending if they saw their competition being higher priced than they are, then yeah, it probably makes sense, right? Why would somebody else be valued higher than another company that has, megawatts available, pretty good sites as well? Well, yeah, we don't know what those deals were, right? Were they an insult in pricing? And maybe that was the case, right? They felt insulted based on those. Maybe that's why they did it. All right. What do the number of shares have to do with price per se? Well, depending where it goes, right? So Bitcoin or IREN goes to, it's at $40 something right now. If it goes to $120, right? So that's roughly a 3x there. What if Bitfarms goes, excuse me, to like $12 or something? That's like a 5x there. So that's where the 5x and 2x and the 3x, the multiples and what you invest in actually do for you there. Gary, how has your strategy of buying extra shares of other miners versus if you had bought a fewer shares of IREN? IREN is still biggest gainer last year and last 3 years. Yes, but that's looking back in hindsight, right? We didn't know this was going to be the case here. We knew IREN had potential, but that's why I don't like looking back, because back is, you made the decisions, you got to live with the decisions that you made at that point. If you look back, you're always going to be second guessing yourself, right? Had I not bought into Cleanspark and had really good gains on that, I probably would have not been able to buy into IREN at that point, which at that point I bought in almost the same amount that I put into Cleanspark, right? So I put in Cleanspark tens of thousands of dollars into it, and I was actually able to, at a profit, sell a portion of my Cleanspark shares because they did much better before IREN did, and I got into IREN at that point, right? So you can't really, I don't like to look backwards, right? Things worked out really well, was able to do the things that I wanted to do and get into the company that I wanted to get into based on another company doing really well before that company did. So, right, hard to see things in hindsight that way as well. Let's see, talk about that one. Okay, Rob. So am I right that Pennsylvania, the Bitfarms brings in more power? Amazon will want to bid for that? Well, we don't know, right? We can guess that they might want it. Amazon is definitely trying to build stuff out as well. They're trying to get sites. So is Meta, so is XAI, so is Google, all of these guys, right? We don't know. Rob asked, what other hyperscalers in the Pennsylvania area? You got TeraWulf in there that I'm aware of. Let me see if I don't have my map here. Let me see if I can pull my map up here to see who else is in that area. Settings, let's go here. Let's go here to this one, open link. Okay, here we go. So here's our nice little lovely map that we keep track of all the sites here. So in Pennsylvania, we only have Bitfarms here right now. We got, who's this red one or this purple one? Nibius. Nibius is in Philadelphia there, it looks like, or New Jersey. Other close ones here are BitDeer. They have a site here in Ohio. They have also a site in Clarington, Ohio, I believe, as well. It's 570 megawatts there. And we got, who's this here? Meta, New Albany is building out there. So we do have these guys here, at least that I have right now on the big scale side of things. Okay. A couple more questions and we'll call it a day here. Talk about that one. Gary, Bitfarms doesn't have a signed contract for the 1.1 gigawatts. How can they sign a contract? They have submitted the plans for the PJM market. They're waiting on approvals for it. So they do have the sites there for it. They're just waiting on the approvals from the regulatory bodies there to approve it or not. Okay, Invest. Consider the Microsoft deal when figuring out IREN book value. Did I consider the Microsoft? I don't think so. I don't think. Oh, no. Yeah, I'm not. No. So I haven't done that part yet. All right, but that's it. Overall, market's going to do what the market's going to do as always, right? I keep saying the market can be more irrational or longer irrational than we can be solvent. That is always the case there. You got to know what you own. You got to have conviction of what you own as well. You got to be positive in a sense and patient, which a lot of people don't have a lot of patience. And you may also want to think about delaying gratification until later on in life a little bit, right? A lot of people want things to be, parabolic for them so they can take profits and have the Lambos. Forego the Lambo, invest it back into other things and, make your life even better down the road, right? Delayed gratification, I think, is underappreciated in this country more so than anywhere else, I think. A lot of people just want to have that gratification of getting that new shiny thing, I guess. But it's one of those things where you learn as the older you get. It's kind of like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have bought the crap that I bought before and invested the money, and I'd be much better off right now. But it's one of those things you learn. Nonetheless, we'll cover whatever happens tomorrow. We'll see whatever data we get in tomorrow from these guys here and the markets itself. We'll take a look at the yen carry trade, how that's going to be impacted. Obviously, when Japan announces their rate hikes by the end of this week here. So we'll see at that point. And then let's see here. Cleanspark, what's the latest updates? Not much as far as updates from them. We covered their November production updates for Bitcoin, and they had a conference call or a presentation with, was it HC Wainwright, I think it was, earlier last week. We talked about the video a little bit. They're obviously planning to build out data centers around the Atlanta area, and they have, it's basically it, more or less. Nothing else. All right, that's it. We'll call it a day here because I'm rambling. Greatly appreciate you guys coming in as always. Love you all. I hope you guys have a great Wednesday tomorrow, hump day, middle of the week. Then we'll cover whatever happens tomorrow. All right. Have a great night, everyone. I'll see you then.